When we first saw how much we would be living on from student loans, I honestly thought there was no way that we could make it happen. I'm a mom of 5 and we moved so my husband could go to dental school. Today, I'm walking you through how we actually make it work and what student loan budgeting looks like behind the scenes. When my husband got accepted into dental school, the biggest thing that was hard for me to wrap my head around was living on student loans. Obviously, that's a very unique situation that not a ton of people can give you advice about. We asked a bunch of people. We were lucky and we did happen to know a lot of people that had went to dental school, went to medical school. But talking about numbers is something that is hard, I think, for most people. And what we kept running into was people saying, oh, you'll figure it out. Oh, you'll make it work. Live very frugally, live on a budget. And it's like, okay, well, yes, of course. But like, what does that actually look like? And how do we make it work? So the schools will have a student loan budget or a set amount of kind of what should go into each category. I believe you should be able to look it up for any school. This is what I saw when I looked it up. Just a simple, like, what is the loan amount? What is like the cost of living? And you see they budgeted out for like 9 months. So obviously if the student is not attending classes, so like on summer break and on Christmas break, you're not technically getting any money because they're not in school. So they break it down for 9 months, and then obviously you see the monthly amount that it's giving you. What it does not say is like any of those like school supplies or like certain fees and things like that. I'll highlight them so you guys know which ones. They also will give you that. So they will automatically take out tuition and most of the fees. But if there is like books that you need or supplies, the loops you can see on the dental one, stuff like that, you will get like the money for that. So the like monthly amount that you're seeing, it actually will be a little bit more than that. I didn't know that at the time. I was just going off of that like monthly amount. And to me, that terrified me because I just knew that that wasn't going to be enough. And I wish I had a paper based off of our old amounts for bills. And I wish I had that to show you guys. But I knew that those numbers still weren't even going to be right. I knew that we were going to have a little bit of an increase because I knew like our rent was going to be higher. I knew with that our utilities might be a little higher. So I was already stressed and I knew that the numbers were going to be higher. So we estimated based off of, like I said, the amount that they had online that they showed what you would get, and knew that my husband would need to make about $400 extra a month from Olive Garden. And that was going to have him working at least a Saturday or Sunday every week. And he thought that he would be able to do that. Spoiler alert, he didn't. He did not actually work a single weekend. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We'll skip to that in a minute. But we knew that we were going to need more than they were saying that we could have for student loans. So we decided to go ahead and call the school. So we called the financial office. I remember that day like it was yesterday because it was a conversation that left me in tears. It was really sad. So one of the things that had me not full on panicking yet was, silly me, I thought maybe there is a possibility that because we were a family that we could get more. So it sounds stupid now because I'm like, well, okay, whatever. But at the time I was like, there's no way. Like, how could they expect a family of 7 to live off of the same amount that they're saying a single student would get? And so to me, like that wasn't making sense. And so I'm like, okay, maybe we'll get a little bit more. And that is not the case. So you get what you get, and that is it. The max amount that is already set. And the way they see it is it's not about the family size. It is about taking care of the needs of the student. So it doesn't matter if you have a family or not. That's not their problem, basically. So they did tell us, however, and so this is something good if you are a family to ask about. They did have a childcare reimbursement that they would allow. So it was per age group. So you got a different amount based on how old the child was. I don't remember those amounts. Obviously, I'm sure they would be different for each school if each school even offered that. But basically, if we had the kids in childcare, we would get a reimbursement for whoever was in that type of situation. So that was like, okay, cool. Like I knew we weren't going to do that because it just wouldn't have made sense. The reimbursement would not have been enough anyways. It's nice that they offer it, of course, but it wouldn't have been enough to cover like a full cost. Obviously, we did not go that route. We did in this conversation ask about work study or jobs through the school and what options were available. And they said that there were none. So we were stressed about that, but also kind of confused because my brother-in-law, obviously he is going through the medical program, not the dental, but he had a job through the school working as his year's AV guy. So doing like the tech stuff and setting up the computers and the projectors and whatever else. And so we knew he had that job. And so it was like, okay, well, crud, like maybe they're just not doing that, for the dental program, or we weren't sure, but she told us flat out, no, that wasn't an option. So here I am in tears because I know that the amount that they're giving for student loans is not enough. It's simply not enough. Even him working Olive Garden every weekend and making roughly $400 a month, it still wasn't going to be enough to cover our bills. And so I'm just so upset and kind of at a loss for what we're supposed to do. And I'm just like, okay, there's no way that we're going to be able to do it. It's just not possible. And in fact, what she told us or gave us for advice was to start saving now and to get a really good budget set in place. And that was the final straw for me. And I was like, wow, that is super, super helpful. Thank you. Because it didn't matter. It did not matter how much we saved or budgeted. It wasn't going to be enough to make the next 4 years make sense, not getting enough money to live on. So devastating. And I don't know if I will ever forget that day, because that was like, okay, we're not going to be able to make this happen. That's it. That's the answer right there. So from that moment, what we did was my husband talked to our brother-in-law and just asked him like, hey, are they offering the AV position for the dental side? Are they not? What do I need to do? He got us in contact with his boss, and my husband reached out and he said, yes, actually, that they were looking, I guess, or the position was open for an AV guy for the dental side, and that, my husband could go ahead and apply and do all of that. And so thankfully he did end up getting that job, and it's a minimum wage job. It is not a high paying job by any means, and part-time as well. So you get, at most 20 hours a week at minimum wage, but it is huge for us. That equals anywhere from 800-ish to 900 a month, which is huge. And for us, it was able to close that gap from this is completely impossible to this is possible. Okay, we can make this work. It will be tight, but we can make it work. I want to loosely talk numbers in this. So the numbers change a little bit. I think the 24 to 25 that I just showed you guys is different than what 25-26 was. I'll see if I can find that one, and if I can, I'll put it up here now. We got 18,709 for the semester that we're starting now. So January till it has to last until July, mid-July. The amounts that you get do change each year because this year one is 9 months, but year two is 10 months. So they go ahead and instead of waiting until August, they pay you in July because they start school in July. So we did get a little bit different of an amount. I think we got an additional $3,000 for the fall semester when he began, because they did give us back the application money. So it was a total of $3,000 that we had paid for application fee, and we were able to get that back for the fall semester. So that was $21,000, and that had to last until mid-January. And then mid-January, we got the $18,000. So if you divide that out by 5, because it has to last February, March, April, May, and June, because you still have to have your rent paid on the 1st. So if you divide that out for 5 months, it's $3,741. I don't know what your bills are if you're a family of 7, but that does not cover ours. Like I said before, my husband did not do any Olive Garden through like the school year. During the weekends, he did not. He quickly found out that just was not possible. I know that there are some people that can make an additional job or a side job work. That would be very, very hard while going to dental school. It is very full on. So I would not go in banking on that, basically is what I'm saying. So roughly $900 a month-ish from the AV is what helps us. And then also he did work Christmas break, and he will turn around and this summer break he will work at Olive Garden. So that just kind of helps us with the buffer. I'm going to go through, not my next video, but the one after that, I'm going to go through like an actual like our Excel sheet that we go off of our monthly budget to kind of show you guys how everything looks like in real time. I just wanted to kind of give you guys rough numbers. So obviously, like I just said, you get in the fall and then in the spring. So you get the payments two times a year, and those have to stretch throughout the times that you are not in school. Obviously as well, my husband does not get paid from his AV job in December and in like May, June, because they're not at school. So if they're not at school, he's not getting that money. So you really, really, really have to be careful and make sure that your money stretches, because that's it. Like once it's gone, it's out. Obviously at that point we would have to turn to like personal loans, and we're doing everything in our power not to do that. I did want to mention, I know that things are going to be very different for this year's incoming students with the big beautiful bill and all of that stuff. And I can make a future video about that. Not that we have like a ton of information on it. This information is useful just simply on like the budgeting side. Like regardless, you're gonna probably live on some type of loan. When we get our loan amount, the first thing we do is basically get the largest chunk of it out of the way as possible. That way we do not just have this huge amount sitting on our bank looking like we have more money than we do, because let's be honest, that can be difficult for some people to see $18,000 just sitting in their bank. So we pay our rent immediately for the whole semester. So we pay that. We go ahead and take out anything that we might need for like emergency fund wise. So we know that my husband's going to need new tires soon. And so we went ahead and put that out. Yearly subscriptions that we have coming out, which we only have like 3 or 2, but get that taken care of and out of there. And let's see what else. Christmas, if we want to set aside a certain amount for Christmas, we'll go ahead and take that out so that that's already out. Basically just whatever we can go ahead and get paid off or take out and set aside, we do that immediately. And then of course, like I mentioned in one of my last videos, I will take out some cash for clothes, shoes, whatever the kids might need. I will go ahead and take that out and set that aside. And then our like entertainment. So if we're going to eat out, or, like it's pretty much impossible to say like, oh, we're not going to eat out for the next 4 years. Like, of course you are, or things are going to happen, or, whatever. Somebody's going to have like a game or an activity that goes late and you didn't have time. So we do take out like a small amount per month and just have all of that in like a cash envelope system. So definitely trying to take out as much as we can so that it does not look like we have more than we do. And then a big question that you might have is there anything left over? And the answer would be no. So everything is tightly budgeted and accounted for, and there really is not anything left over. We do our absolute best to be as frugal as possible, and I'm going to continue. My next several videos are going to be all about like the finances of it and living on student loans and what that looks like and our monthly budget. I'm going to go through everything with you guys, because that was something that was I just wanted to know. I wanted so badly for somebody to walk me through it and give me advice, give me help. And it did not matter who I turned to or where I searched or what I tried to look up on YouTube or anywhere. I couldn't find anything. So I'm gonna do my best to be as transparent and open with you guys as possible, because I would have loved that if somebody would have done that for me. So you guys are gonna get all the details, but yeah, no, there's nothing left over. There's nothing left over, and everything is very strict and very tight, and you just kind of are crossing your fingers the whole time, like, okay, we hope everything works out. But there is hope. So if you're scared about finances going into school, it's hard, but I promise it's doable. Systems matter more than income, and you don't have to have it all figured out right now. You just have to take it one step at a time and adjust as you go. I'll see you guys in the next one.